Dr. Jeff Young isn't your average veterinarian, believe it or not. When it comes to the care of pets, he is among the world's most renowned experts. One of the most watched animal shows in the world, Dr. Jeff Rocky Mountain Vet attracts an average of over 1.3 million viewers every episode. Even more astounding is the fact that Dr. Jeff has devoted his life to helping countless animals all around the world. He is like a surgical samurai. A tragic catastrophe that no one anticipated lurks behind all of his compassionate animal sacrifices. In order to find out, be sure to stick around till the very end. Going back to the beginning is always the best course of action. As a child, Dr. Jeff Young lived in what was essentially a zoo after being born on April 14, 1956, in Indiana, USA. Because of his upbringing on a farm, he has always been in close proximity to animals. He spent the holidays at his father's ranch and lived with his mother, Esther Stevens, following his parents' divorce. Dr. Jeff Young's family relocated frequently due to his stepfather's military career. Growing up on a farm was like a mini med school for young Jeff. His habit of bringing sick or hurt animals home transformed his family's living room into a makeshift animal hospital. He would take in every stray animal, including dogs, cats, and even a few bewildered squirrels. The loss of Jeff's beloved dog only served to heighten his lifelong devotion to animals. In the wake of his own tragedies, Jeff adopted several of the animals he treated, becoming something of a local animal rescue hero. Jeff made the decision to pursue his love of animals seriously upon graduating from high school. Finally, he decided to become a veterinarian, so he gathered his belongings and traveled to Colorado State University. He graduated in 1989, prepared to rule the animal kingdom, after years of studying late into the night. Jeff was finally going to be able to pursue his lifelong dream of being an animal caregiver with his brand new degree in hand. He began his career in Fort Collins as a welfare officer for animals. Unfortunately, not everything worked out. Contrary to Jeff's expectations, he found that many vets cared more about their bottom lines than the health of their patients. While he was in school to become a veterinarian, Dr. Jeff served as an animal control officer, where he saw horrific acts of cruelty, such as a man slapping a baseball bat over a puppy. He was unhappy with this discovery. It has always been Jeff's belief that all animals, regardless of their owner's financial status, deserve the best care. Dr. Jeff's horrific experiences as a dog warden motivated him to promote global animal welfare through the implementation of affordable spay-neuter programs that curb animal overpopulation. This belief drove him to move to Denver and start making things happen on his own. In 1990, he used that to launch his own clinic called Planned Pethood Plus. The strategy and objectives of Planned Pethood Plus were straightforward. Dr. Jeff's profound affection for animals undoubtedly inspired him to pursue a career in veterinary medicine. And for two reasons, that passion drove him to establish his own clinic. For starters, he's seen firsthand the mayhem and tragedy that ensues when people are unable to provide adequate care for their beloved dogs during his first employment. The truth is, as Jeff was well aware, not pretty for the majority of pet owners. As a result of the exorbitant costs associated with high-quality veterinary care, this forced many pet owners to make the heartbreaking decision of either abandoning their animals or going into debt. Everyone should be able to provide their pets the best care possible, according to Dr. Jeff. This was true whether they were rolling in dough or hunting for quarters under the couch. The pet overpopulation situation was another big concern that he noted. Overcrowding in shelters, neglected animals, and sick animals were all too common, and the scenes of cruelty and neglect were tragic. There was a furry apocalypse across the world. Dr. Jeff was on the front lines as an animal control officer, seeing the devastating effects of an overpopulation of pets compared to the number of homes available to them. The situation was critical, with shelters at capacity and resources severely limited. Tragically, high euthanasia rates persisted, and Dr. Jeff was determined to find a solution. Beyond the standard medical care, Dr. Jeff understood the critical importance of compassion and understanding in animal care, qualities that were lacking in the veterinary profession during his time. Therefore, he immediately set measures in motion to close all the gaps he discovered in the veterinary profession the moment his clinic's doors were opened. Dr. Jeff's daily mission was to alleviate the pain and suffering he witnessed in animals. He envisioned a society free of the dilemma of whether to pay rent or get a vet to diagnose their feline friend's cough. He was also aware that the best way to prevent overpopulation in the first place was to practice spaying and neutering. Last but not least, Dr. Jeff held the firm belief that all animals and their owners deserve the best possible care. And that is just what he accomplished. Though it was not without its share of difficulties, he succeeded in making that dream a reality. The path to planned Pethood Plus's laudable goal was not without its share of hardships and setbacks. Dr. Jeff had a tough time keeping his practice afloat financially. You see, operating on tighter margins was a normal part of running a clinic that offered reduced costs on services. Keeping the clinic open required paying a mountain of debts, and those sums covered treatments and operations that saved lives. Pet owners on tight budgets needed affordable, high-quality treatment, and he had to make sure the clinic could deliver it. Unfortunately, the veterinary community also posed a significant obstacle. Providing services at a reduced rate was thought to be a threat to the profession at one point. Dr. Jeff's method was seen by some colleagues who charged greater fees as an attack on their business strategy. The bottom line is that it hurt company. Dr. Jeff had to overcome more than just professional and financial obstacles. He also had to overcome the emotional toll of helping distressed animals. Dr. Jeff Young overcame enormous obstacles by staying true to his goal, and now animals and their owners have Planned Pethood Plus to look forward to. Planned Parenthood Plus was more than just a clinic for sick dogs. It was an entire movement whose mission was to improve the quality of life for all animals. No matter their financial status, Dr. Jeff and his colleagues worked relentlessly to ensure that all pet owners could afford the veterinary treatment their pets needed. Affordable pet care shouldn't be out of reach for community members, and the clinic proved it by actually providing it. Beyond its immediate vicinity, the clinic's influence grew over time. The incredible impact that Dr. Jeff and his colleagues achieved stunned pet owners across. Pioneer in animal rights and education on a worldwide scale, Planned Parenthood Plus didn't limit itself to its home in Denver. It went global. A modest clinic that offered low-cost spaying and neutering services eventually grew into a thriving organization. Dr. Jeff Young made a game-changing jump in the year 2000. To address the global problem of pet overpopulation, he established Planned Pethood International. To ensure that all pets have an equal opportunity at a good life, PPI trained veterinarians worldwide and financed spay and neuter programs. Worldwide, PPI had the effect that Dr. Jeff had wished for. In Bratislava, Slovakia, for example, a first-rate veterinary training hospital was established with the support of Planned Pethood Plus funds. As a result, aspiring veterinarians were able to get the education they needed to deliver first-rate care to their own communities. And to make sure that all pets in Merida, Mexico, regardless of their owners' socioeconomic situations, could get the treatment they required, PPI funded a full-fledged veterinary hospital. However, that was merely the first step. Planned Pethood owes its success to Dr. Jeff's dedication to spreading awareness. As if early-age neutering were the next big thing, he personally mentored more than 300 vets from over the world and advocated for it with abandon. Preventing issues before they started, he aimed to do more than simply rehabilitate animals. He hoped to save countless lives along the way. Dr. Jeff and his colleagues at Planned Pethood Plus have, throughout the years, dedicated themselves solely to providing the highest quality care for animals. The clinic finally started to receive the recognition it earned for the excellent job it was performing, which was no surprise. Animal Planet was one of those groups, and rightfully so. Current ownership of the American international paid TV channel Animal Planet lies with Warner Brothers. It shifted its focus from family-friendly nature films to other types of content as time went on, placing an emphasis on reality shows and depictions of dangerous animals. As a result, they were captivated upon discovering Dr. Jeff and his practice, Planned Pethood Plus. Planned Pethood Plus wasn't like other vet clinics. They wanted to help all animals, especially those whose owners couldn't afford costly treatments. It was more than a veterinary clinic that Animal Planet spotted. It was a story that warranted telling. Dr. Jeff Young and his team weren't merely carrying out their duties, they were engaged in a noble endeavor. There was no mistaking their unwavering commitment to helping animals in their neighborhood. Following much discussion, Animal Planet proposed airing a reality program chronicling Dr. Jeff's practice. Dr. Jeff was first skeptical of the plan because he thought it would detract from the clinic's primary objective. However, after some consideration, he chose to try it out. Dr. Jeff Rocky Mountain Vet was finally released in 2015 after much preparation and filming. The show delves deeper than a typical vet visit, sharing touching and, at times, tragic tales of families and their beloved pets. Every episode gives you a glimpse inside Dr. Jeff and his team's day-to-day work, revealing the real and relatable ups and downs of animal care. The show allowed viewers to witness the special connection that formed between Dr. Jeff, his staff, and the animals in his care. It was more than just amusement. It demonstrated the immense impact that can be achieved when people are compassionate and committed to helping animals in distress. In addition to their work in the operating room, Dr. Jeff and his colleagues are passionate about educating the public about the need of responsible pet ownership and fighting for animal rights. Not only was the drama in Dr. Jeff Rocky Mountain Vet, but the show also highlighted the real-life challenges and successes of veterinary practice, which contributed to its popularity. It made individuals care more about animal welfare and perhaps even volunteer at animal shelters or veterinary clinics in their area. The show did more than just win over viewers, it became a genuine phenomenon, shattering ratings records and perfectly encapsulating the universal feelings of love and attachment to our beloved pets. The show has exploded in popularity since its premiere, captivating audiences from many backgrounds who are captivated by the charismatic cowboy charm of Dr. Jeff Young and his remarkable staff at planned Pethood Plus. With an average of over 1.3 million viewers each episode in 2017, it was the talk of Animal Planet and easily the most watched series on the network. It was the year's second most popular series among women aged 25 to 54. On a consistent basis with 236,000 devoted viewers, you have to give credit where credit is due to Dr. Jeff and his golden heart, the show's success. Planned Pethood Plus welcomes viewers into his world with touching reunions, thrilling surgeries that save lives, and uplifting rescues that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Dr. Jeff and his colleagues at Denver's planned Pethood Plus were always willing to get their hands dirty and do whatever was required to rescue animals, despite the drama and tears. In a remarkable demonstration of their dedication, Dr. Jeff and his crew once broke the record for the highest number of mass spay-neuter surgeries done in a single day. With the show's rising ratings and the clinic's steady expansion, Dr. Jeff was witnessing his lifelong ambition materialize right before his eyes. With each episode, the clinic became even busier, more lives were saved, and the special relationship between pets and their owners was recognized. Amazing things were happening at planned Pethood Plus, and viewers couldn't tear themselves away from the screen to see them. However, everything changed in 2016 when life threw a curveball. Tragic news reached Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff was unwinding from a day of roundhouse kicks and breaking boards in 2016 by having his normal post-karate massage. While the masseuse was rubbing his back, he felt a searing agony radiate down his arm. Never one to back down from a challenge, Dr. Jeff dismissed it as a pinched nerve. However, the agony failed to comprehend. It worsened, and then it came back stronger than before 2 weeks later, and now striking him on the jaw and the left arm. It wasn't just any ouch. At last, he made up his mind to go to the emergency room, considering the possibility that it might be a heart attack. Unexpectedly, an 8-centimeter mass lurked next to his heart, as shown by the doctor's examinations, including an X-ray. It stunned Dr. Jeff. His life had taken a dramatic turn from rescuing animals to battling for his own survival. A diagnosis of B-cell lymphoma was announced a few days later. Being a hero to his furry patients turned his world upside down as he faced his hardest battle yet. There was no way that Dr. Jeff would give up. He did not hesitate to engage in combat once he was prepared to do so. Jeff broke the news of his cancer diagnosis to the audience in the show's second-to-last episode. He said that he was going to begin treatment at the end of the month. Dr. Jeff startled everyone with a decision he made to prepare. He went ahead and chopped off his distinctively long locks. It threw me for a loop emotionally. Fortunately, his loved ones were there for him through thick and thin. In order to prepare him for chemotherapy, his wife Petra courageously chopped off his famously long and wavy hair. Petra delicately trimmed and shaved Dr. Jeff's head while the entire office, including Melody, his daughter, watched. Melody choked back tears as she recounted her father's unwavering belief that his hair was his greatest asset, highlighting the difficulty of the situation. Additionally, Dr. Jeff mentioned that his hair had always been something he was proud of. He had even joked about chopping it off before it was his hallmark and a part of his personality. Unfortunately, Dr. Jeff was aware that chemotherapy might lead to hair loss when he was diagnosed with cancer. Upon realizing this, he resolved to assume command of the matter. Even though he knew he would eventually lose his hair, he decided to confront the problem directly rather than avoid it. This choice was about more than just looking different. It was also about facing the challenges that lie ahead with optimism and bravery. Dr. Jeff's inability to work as much as usual was one of the greatest obstacles he encountered during his cancer treatment. He had coached youth distance runners for almost 20 years, but his stamina couldn't match his enthusiasm. Even his patients, he said, were more active than he was. Still, he refused to give up, just as he had with everything else. Like the innumerable injuries he dealt with in his veterinary practice, cancer was but another obstacle for Dr. Jeff. Motivated by the perseverance of his patients, he stayed committed to his job. He drew strength and humor from the people and animals he assisted, even on his worst days, and used that to fight illness himself. Optimistic attitude and continuous work to the extent that his health permitted were hallmarks of Dr. Jeff's treatment. He attributes much of his success in recovering to his commitment to a holistic strategy that included yoga, healthy eating, and a positive mindset. In addition to focusing on the medical components of cancer treatment, his approach prioritized overall wellness and physical activity. Dr. Jeff thankfully stated that he was finally cancer-free after successfully completing his therapy. That gave him the boost he needed to get back into his veterinarian business. However, tragedy struck once more as soon as everyone believed the storm had passed. Again, in the year 2023, Dr. Jeff encountered the same obstacle once more, years after he triumphed over cancer. In July of 2023, he announced on Facebook that, as before, his cancer had returned and that he was once again undergoing chemotherapy and other treatments. Even if his symptoms were getting better, the most tragic part is that he still can't do the thing he has devoted his life to: caring for animals.